Morning, morning, morning. Morning, Who fans. I hope you're all well. Welcome to the stream. Cool, there's a few of you here. Nice one. Nice. Hope you're all good. It's going to be an interesting morning for sure. It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, I've got neighbours moving out that way and they're making a reek racket. I've got neighbours doing work, banging and all the rest of it that way. And I've also got people turning up today to do some work on the outside of the house. So it could be an interesting one. We have an echo, do we? Do we have an echo? Yeah, YouTube's being a bit weird. Hold on. How's that? It's quite an echo. Yeah, soz. I think I've just sorted it. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat if that is all good. Or if it's not all good. And I will look at something else. Basically, I had to reinstall OBS and I've had to redo everything. And I don't think it's... There we go. Cool. Lovely. Right, so I hope you're well. Hope you're keeping good and stuff. Who do we have this morning? So look, Sammy Satine, Sammy from Down Under. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Rob Kernick. Morning, Rob. Morning, Gary. Hope you're well. Got a cup of tea. I have in the Who mug. It definitely is, dude. I've got the big Who mug, the comic style Who mug. No coffee this morning, but tea. Fancied tea this morning. Yeah. Cameron Gribbons. Good morning. Mark Cochran. Good morning, dude. Hope you're well. Who addicts? Matt. Is it Matt and Liv or just Matt? Either way, it's good to have you here, dude. Hope you're doing well. TardisNet66. Good mornings. Mornings. Sarah, the running Whovian. Sarah, the running Whovian is morning, Sarah. Ryan McGiven. Morning, Ryan. Hope you guys are all doing well. Excuse me. Who Books. Hey, Who fans. Hi, Who Books. DW Seb, good morning. Yeah, we've got thumbs up all over the place. We're rocking and rolling. Cool. Thank you very much. TardisNet 66. I've been able to join for 20 minutes, but don't worry. Fun. Yeah, don't worry, dude. All good. Tea is the best. Yeah, it's the best, Mark. You're not wrong there, buddy. Yep. Yep. Thomas Shaw. Good morning, dude. Hope you are well. Who addicts? Oh, it's both of you, Matt and Liv. Two of the nicest people on the planet, Matt and Liv. Hope you guys are doing well. Thumbs up from Sarah. Morning, Sarah. You been for a run this morning, Sarah? Smashing out the old miles. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one today. I might have to invoke the old, the coming soon or be right back scene. If I have to nip off and get the door or something like that. But we should be cool. We should be good. So as usual with these live streams, I think this is number 3 now, I think. As usual with these newer live streams, there's no agenda yet. I might do one at some point. But there's no agenda as such. Just we'll just keep it loose and just chat about anything Doctor Who related that you want to talk about. I wonder if my co-host is out of bed yet. I wonder if Adam's up. Yeah. I did say to him in the week, I said, dude, look, I don't want to text you every single week and bug you about coming on the stream. So how about we do it this way? You just tell me when you want to jump on the stream and we'll do that. And I just got a yeah, right, mate. So, yeah. He might be here, he might not, I don't know. Adam and I are opposite to that. In that respect. So because I've been a dad for many years and been up just naturally used to waking up quite early. Not as early as my wife, on the other hand. She wakes up uber early. She's up at 5 every morning, but I wake up naturally around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Whereas Adam is he's the complete opposite to that. He's he likes his lies in, does Adam. So he might be here, I don't know. Yes, and also apologies about all this stuff, by the way. I've got myself a new microphone and I need to flip this around, basically. I need to flip it round. So at the moment it's all sort of nyeh. So sorry about that, but I'll get that sorted. Did you use your neighbours being noisy as an excuse to get an SM7B? I'd like to say yes, Mark. Yeah, it's a weird thing, the old podcasting and microphone kind of thing. But when you start getting into it properly and you upgrade your equipment and stuff like that, it almost becomes a bit of an addiction almost to try and get the best. Quality you can from your stuff. And I've gone through various mics over the last few years. In the early days when Adam and I first started recording, we both had those snowball microphones from Blue, those little white spheres, and they sounded bloody awful. And then I think I got a gaming headset that had a decent mic supposedly, but it didn't really. And then I think it was an ATR 2100, which Adam then went on to use. He got himself one, which was pretty good. And then I settled on the Rode Procaster, which has been good. A couple of weeks ago, I used the Heil PR40 for a couple of weeks, but it didn't really suit my voice. But then, yeah, just wanted to pull the trigger on this bad boy. I've wanted it for a couple of years. But yeah, just all this mount and everything's a bit annoying. But there we go. You're not been for a run yet, Sarah? No. Slack in. I'm joking, of course. I'm joking. You like the hat? Cheers, Tom. The only reason why I'm wearing hats at the moment in the live stream is because I've got very bad lockdown hair. I've got a very big, coiffy, side parting-y, messy thing, and it does not look good at all. It does not look good. So, hence the caps or the hats in the last few streams. So, yeah. Whose books are you going to listen to the final story of the War Doctor series, Volume 4? Looking forward to that. Okay, yeah, that sounds cool. Yes, that looks cool. And in a way, I'm glad that they're wrapping up some of those stories around the Time War and stuff. It seems to have dragged on a wee bit now. The Who addicts have never seen 5 a.m. You never seen 5 a.m? You've never been out and watched the sunrise, eh? No, I think you have. When you came down to London for I think it was LFCC, didn't you have to get up really early one morning and get a coach from Middlesbrough at like 3 a.m. and you didn't get to London until 10 in the morning or something? Does the Geek's handbag need an extended beauty sleep? He does need his beauty sleep, doesn't he? He needs his sleep, old Adam. Just getting used to the idea of having to set the alarm for 4 as I go back to work next week. Oh, that sucks, mate. 4 a.m. to get up for work. Meh. Matt, I regularly saw sometimes earlier for your live streams. You did, Sammy, yeah. Okay. Bloody hell, Sammy. Yeah, so you must... Yeah, so Sammy, you've just had your dinner, right? So you must be... what must be like evening time for you, right? Hold on, what is it now here? Just gone 10. It was like 7 o'clock, 8 p.m, something like that. So yeah, okay. So what do you guys want to talk about to do with Doctor Who? So the first thing off the bat for me is the rumour mill stuff, which is funny. It's we spoke about it very briefly on this week's show. The whole because there was a lot of pictures that people took and little video clips of John Bishop when they were in Liverpool last week filming some external stuff, some outside shots, and you saw the TARDIS there and had the crew and everything like that. And it was really cool, actually. It was really cool to see some Doctor Who stuff out in the wild again and people being excited. You could tell that there was a real buzz around the set and the crew and everything like that. And what was really funny is as soon as you see something like that, and that was obviously legitimate, right? You've got John Bishop, who we know is John. You know, you can't mistake him. You have the TARDIS prop. You can't mistake that. So that's not one of those things where a tabloid has said, oh yeah, they've been filming here, and you have to question whether or not they've actually done it. But we had, so as soon as that happened, it was like, boom, the rumour mill's off, like straight out the traps. It's like, oh, there was John Barrowman was pictured in a newsagent's on the outskirts of Liverpool. That means that Captain Jack is back. He's back for the next series. He's going to star alongside John Bishop and all that lot. It's like, no, that's untrue, isn't it? And then the other one was Catherine Tate was spotted in Liverpool, and she told a reporter or an interviewer that she's doing a top secret TV project that's very under wraps and hush hush. So automatically she's in Doctor Who. So that means that Catherine Tate is back. So Donna's back. So in the next series, we've got the Doctor, we've got Captain Jack, we've got Donna, we've got Yaz. It's going to be amazing. No. It's unbelievable. So that was the thing that I wanted to get off my chest. It was it's the rumour stuff with Doctor Who. It's almost become more drama than the actual stuff that you see that is legitimate. So you've got one group of fans who are like this big over here, roughly this big over here, and they're like, oh, this is great. We've got some actual proper legitimate footage of the TARDIS prop and John Bishop. This is going to be great. And then over here, you've got this massive group of fans that are like, don't worry about that. Yeah, don't worry about that. So Catherine Tate, she's going to be awesome, isn't she? And John Barrowman, he's going to be amazing. You have this very huge chasm of legitimacy. It's just really funny. So we don't have time to dive into too much of this stuff on the podcast, but it's just really cool. So I don't know what you guys think about this, but yeah, it always makes me really laugh. And it almost gets to the point where you cannot blame the papers and the tabloids for really hamming it up and trying to just clutch at any straw, because they know that Doctor Who fans love that stuff. They don't care about the legitimate stuff until you see it on screen when the series airs. You know, the majority of Who fans don't care about. The minority of Who fans, they care about that stuff. But yeah, it's just really funny. It's really funny. And I think there was another rumour as well that was doing the rounds after the Catherine Tate one. I'm pretty sure. What was it? Yeah, there was another. I don't know. There was another actor, not a regular like Catherine Tate or John Barrowman, but there was another actor, and he or she was spotted somewhere just in the north of England. So automatically they're in Doctor Who in series 13. It's crazy, but it's funny, man. It's very funny. And Star Wars fans are exactly the same. Anyone that's in that circle, if you talk to Star Wars fans or if you watch any YouTubers that do Star Wars stuff or podcasts, whatever, or on Twitter, it's always the same. Always the same. It's so funny. I did pick up The Lives of Captain Jack before I went out of print on Big Finish. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty decent one, actually. Yeah, that's a pretty decent one. Mark, where are you, Mark, by the way? Are you in the UK or are you down under with Rob from the Doctor Who show and Sammy and stuff? Mark says, I started with a Snowball, then a Yeti, now I have a pod mic and an SM7B. So you're right, it's never ending quest to try and get the best sound. Yeah, you're right, dude. Yeah, I tried the pod mic as well. The company that I work for, we are actually a podcast hosting company, and we have I don't go to it very often, but our studio that's in Sheffield, we've got a proper podcasting studio and stuff, and they kitted it all out with pod mics, I think in the middle of last year, I think. And they're actually pretty decent, the pod mics, for the price. I mean, if any of you guys ever want to start a podcast or whatever, there's 2 or 3 microphones that will get you off and running really, really well for not breaking the bank. And you won't break the bank, sorry. I think Matt from Who Alex, you were asking about mics the other day. So the Adams, he's watching in bed, is he? Morning, Adam. Morning, dude. My co-host. Yeah, I could just imagine your significant other has brought you some breakfast and a bit of tea, maybe a glass of champagne. Yeah, it's all good, mate. But yeah, microphones for pod mics. Mark, you're absolutely right. The pod mic is decent sounding mic, but yeah, the SM7B is up there, as you know. But yeah, anyone that's thinking of starting a podcast, or if you do streams or those type of YouTube videos where it's not you on camera, but you've got stuff on screen and you're just narrating over the top. There are 3 mics that will get you off the ground running, that you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So the ATR 2100, in the UK it's known as the Samson Q2U, I think. That's around £60-70. The next one is the PodMic, which is £99. And then the one up from that, if you want a little bit more quality, is the Rode Procaster. It's a little bit more money. I think that's around £200. Yes, that's a bit expensive, that one. But certainly the PodMic and the ATR 2100 or Samsung Q2U, they will get you off the ground with a much, much better sounding voice and stuff. So, yeah. The number of people who believe Catherine Tate was back was baffling. It would have been a huge plot hole in itself. Well, of course, yeah. And when Adam and I spoke very briefly about this on the show this week, we said that Donna's story has been wrapped up really nicely. You know, they ended her stuff quite nice, and there was no need to go nuts and start bringing her back and stuff. So yeah, I think it would be a mistake to bring her back. To bring her back as a regular, put it that way. I think a cheeky little cameo here and there, that might be cool, but to have her back as a regular would be a mistake, I think. Even though Catherine Tate returning, rumours is 99% a load of cack. It was fun on Monday, then it was going, yeah. Doctor Who Home. Doctor Who Home. Best atmosphere in fandom in ages, having filming pics going around again. Exactly, man. Yeah, it's very, very cool. That's why, as I said, it's really cool that we've got that kind of buzz happening. And we have some official, legitimate stuff. It's very cool. Yes. So Doctor Who Home. Not heard of you guys before. Are you a content creator of some kind? Let me know. Who Books. It was a funny night on Twitter on Monday about Catherine Tate. Yeah, it was crazy. Very, very funny. Rob, you try to avoid that stuff, but it does get a bit out of hand. Yeah. Mark, you've just finished listening to Stranded Volume 1 from Big Finish. Wasn't sure if you'd like it, but it's a really refreshing experience. An example of, yeah, dude, it's really, really cool. We've got our writer Mark has put reviews over on the website for all 4 parts now. So anyone that's thinking of checking out Stranded, go and read Mark's reviews over on the website bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. It's a really good listen, actually. I've listened to all 4. It's very cool. Yeah, very cool. It's good for some YouTube channels because it's guaranteed clickbait. Yeah, of course, Matt. Yeah, man. Defo click. It's and the thing is, you can tell a mile off as well when you scroll through YouTube and you go through. If you just do a search, even something it doesn't have to be niche. It could be just Doctor Who. Just search for that, and the top 5 or 6, maybe 10 results will be Catherine Tate returning to Doctor Who, or filming location revealed, plus a secret, casting announcement coming soon. All that sort of stuff. You can tell a mile off that it's clickbaity. Yeah. Bloody hell, he's up bed. Yeah, Tom Shaw, what do you think about the Stranded Blu-rays coming out? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. If I don't want to go down that hole, because I think in live stream number 1 or the second one, I went into a bit of a deep dive around physical media versus digital and all that stuff. But I think the Blu-rays coming out, I think it's kind of cool, but I don't think we should get used to that. I don't think they're going to start doing that for all of them. It's hard, isn't it? I don't think Catherine Tate coming back is legit, but if it ever did happen, it would surprise me given Chris Chibnall's reliance on nostalgia. Yeah, exactly. The Chib bag, it's a bit like Moffat in that respect. Remember when Moffat took over and Series 5 kicked off and we had a new Doctor, a new cast? That really felt like, I think that's the closest for me that Doctor Who has ever felt like a soft reboot to me. Of course it's not a reboot, but it just felt like that was the deal, because when David Tennant was the Doctor, we had quite a few references to things that happened in the Eccleston era. Not just, the obvious one of Rose being a carryover, but we just had plenty of references and things that were talked about. But then when Matt Smith took over and the Moff era and all that stuff, the show felt different in so many ways, like the look and feel, the tone. I think they had changed a lot of the crew, and the producers had changed, and the tech had changed a little bit. They all upgraded the cameras and lenses, and it all felt really different to the RTD era in many respects. But it was really weird that that Matt Smith's Doctor and the Moffat stuff never, hardly ever mentioned anything from the past 4 or 5 years. It was really weird. It was like almost a real cut-off point. And from that moment on, it was all about looking forward, which is good, which is great to a respect. But yeah, they just never mentioned anything, hardly anything from the RTD era. So although, it's silly to suggest that it is a reboot, it's not, but it just feels like that was a bit of a soft reboot. It's better than nothing, geeks. Watching in bed. Oh yeah. Adam's watching in bed, Mr. Co-host. Yeah. Shandy Gaming 46. Hey guys, I always listen to your podcast each week and love it. First time tuning into live stream. Great stuff. Thank you very much, dude. It's welcome aboard. Who else have we got? Mark. Oh, you are in the UK. Right. I thought you were a Down Under Doctor Who fan, and that you mucked in with Rob and the Doctor Who show and so on. So apologies, but yeah, you're in the UK. Exeter, no less. Cool. He's already opened the wine here. Not a chance he's in the garden moaning that I need to get up. You better get up soon, dude. You don't want a row. You don't want to kick off the weekend with a ruck. That's for sure. Dan Hickey, morning Dan. Hope you're doing well. Really think I need to have a glass of champagne in bed tomorrow morning now. Yeah, man, try it. It's normally reserved for Christmas Day morning, but sod it. Do it. Who books, not Doctor Who related, but I'm currently doing an MCU marathon, and I rewatched Ant-Man last night, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, Ant-Man's is an interesting one in the MCU. I think it was a bit of a surprise for a lot of people, because I think everybody was very much in the mindset of, yeah, we love the whole Tony Stark thing, obviously, and those main sort of tentpole characters, the key characters like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America and stuff. Ant-Man was, and it's really weird actually talking about it now, because way back in the day when the MCU first kicked off and Iron Man was the first sort of proper film that was going to start the interconnected stuff. This was after the questionable Hulk film, but that very first Iron Man film, Iron Man at the time was a B character in the world of Marvel Comics. So they took a massive risk going straight away with Iron Man, but fortunately it was the Robert Downey Jr. thing that paid off for him. But Ant-Man was a similar thing. So Ant-Man's not a well-known, certainly not an A-list Marvel character. So when they announced Ant-Man, I think people were like, oh, okay, it's an interesting one. But I guess by that point, Marvel had earned the trust and sort of had earned their stripes, so to speak. So they trusted that they would do it right. And yeah, it's not a bad one, Ant-Man. It's and Paul Rudd's really cool. Yeah, he's a really cool character. So a really cool actor, should I say? Yeah, so that was cool. So Ant-Man, yeah, I quite enjoy Ant-Man. When we got Disney Plus last year, when that first launched here in the UK, one of the first things that me and my wife did, and she said, right, we've now got Disney Plus. We're going to have an MCU marathon. I was like, all right, cool. She's a keeper. All right. And we were going through the films and we got to Ant-Man. She's like, no, I'm going to skip this one. I'm like, what? We're supposed to be doing a marathon, like going through in chronological order. She was like, nah, I'm not really feeling that, man. So there we go. But I think it's quite a cool film. TARDISnet, what are you saying? There are certain companions you don't bring back. Donna is one and Jamie is another. Why not Jamie? Why wouldn't you bring back Jamie? Oh, I guess, are you talking about how the story was nicely wrapped up? Yeah, so Jamie went off, didn't he, at the end, back to the Highlands. And did he go back to the Highlands? I'm pretty sure. Oh, I read you. Okay. Yeah, he's a cool character, though. Created a buzz you've not had in a while. Yeah, Adam, yeah. Sammy. Your other half must shake their head at you sometimes. Yeah, he does. Doctor Who Home. I'm just a little channel who does Who related vids. Love the podcast, lads. Thank you very much. We'll send us a link, Doctor Who Home. We'll check it out. We will check it out for sure. Rob, what did people think of Tennant and Baker Big Finish Adventure? I thought it was good, but not as good as they hyped it up to be. I think is the best way I can put that. It was very enjoyable listen. It was very cool, and the chemistry between those two is awesome. And you could imagine as well that it would have been one of David Tennant's dream things to have done, because when they were filming the 50th special, was it the Day of the Doctor? Night of the Doctor? Something of the Doctor? Is it Day of the Doctor, the 50th? I'm sure it is. The Day of the Doctor. Yeah, that is the 50th, right? I'm going crazy. I'm questioning myself now. But you know that scene at the end where Tom Baker's Doctor comes back as the caretaker, or the curator of the museum, the caretaker, the curator, and there was that lovely little scene with him and Matt. I would imagine that David Tennant would have been gutted about that, because although they probably met and chatted on the set that day, I could imagine that David Tennant probably wanted to be in that scene. Because we know, if you hear if you've checked out some early interviews with David Tennant when he was actually on the show, he does say quite a few times that growing up, Tom Baker was absolutely just enthralled by Doctor Who and Tom Baker and stuff like that. So I imagine for David Tennant, it was a dream come true to actually work with, or maybe not work with, because they probably weren't even in the same studio together, but be involved in the same project with those two Doctors together would have been amazing. So the story was okay. It wasn't quite as good as I was hoping it would be, but it is still a good listen. What we got here? Who Books. Out of Time is a great story. You'll enjoy it. Okay. Right, the Who Addicts. This is a rant coming. I can see it. I can't believe the BBC were getting hate for the Stranded release. Surely it's nothing but a nice sentiment for the people who may have missed out on the season 14s, etc. Why were they getting hate then? Were they? For the Stranded releases. What's going on with that then? Loved Out of Time. Dan Hickey. Yep. Matt Steele. Morning, Matt. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great weekend. It's good to have you here, Matt. Who Books. I'd like Series 11. We never heard any... It's like Series 11, sorry. We never heard any references from the past, but we did in Series 12. Yeah, so same sort of thing, really. And you can understand that to a degree. When you have a new showrunner on board, like the Moff and like the Chibbers, they obviously want to put their own stamp. They want to own that era of Doctor Who. They don't want to be... I guess they want to have their era remembered solely as their thing. They don't want Who fans scratching their heads like... That story, was that RTD or was it Moffat? I can't remember. And that particular story, was that a Chibbers episode or was it an RTD? So they probably want that distinguished feel between, right, that was what became previous to Doctor Who, this is my era of Doctor Who. So they probably want to try and, although everything's canon and connected, obviously, they probably want to try and keep it fairly contained. And like, this is my era of Doctor Who as a showrunner, I'm guessing. Lewis Blackmore, good morning, Lewis. Hope you're doing well. Sammy Satine, I loved Out of Time, but I loved that Tom modified his Doctor's words in the script because he knew David was such a big... Exactly, Sammy, yeah. Exactly that. David is a huge fan of his, yeah. I've started rewatching the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans again and really enjoying them. Do you know what, Adam? The first two Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans are very cool. Very cool. The third one, I normally skip that one. It's just a mess, that one. Can't really stand the third one. But certainly those first two, they've got a real charm about them. And I know this is off topic, it's not Doctor Who, but that first Spider-Man film, Tobey Maguire one, is a really, really important film in the superhero genre. Because that was the first time that we had a proper high-budget AAA film where the special effects had come on, the visual effects had come on to such a degree that they could do stuff and make it believable. from a superhero, because the appeal about, and every superhero's got their appeal obviously, but the appeal with Spider-Man is seeing him swinging through New York and doing all this acrobatic stuff and clinging to walls and, you know, all that awesome stuff. Prior to that, and I think, who's the director? Is it Sam Raimi? No, not Sam Raimi. Was it Sam Raimi? Can't remember. But yeah, I think it was a Sam Raimi. I think he said in an interview that he had wanted to do a Spider-Man film for years, but had always said no. They said, like, when you're going to do a Spider-Man film, he's like, we can't do it now because the visual effects just aren't there. It's just going to look awful. So it got to that point where, and a lot of those scenes where you see Spider-Man swinging around and doing stuff, a decent portion of it isn't actually Tobey Maguire or a stuntman. It's literally a CG character, but it's just done really well and really realistically. So that was a really important superhero film, and it was really from that point onwards that other people started to sit up and go, actually, now that production values and visual effects have come to this point, we could actually make superhero films look awesome. So yeah, I really enjoy that first Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi film. Yeah, it's very cool. Sorry, I digress there about Marvel. I've lost my way in the chat now. Hold on a second. Where did we get to? Tom Shaw, how was the Snyder Cut? I haven't watched it yet. I was going to watch it last weekend and I didn't get time. Actually, no, it's a lie. I started watching it. I watched like the first 15 minutes and I had to go and do something, and I thought, I really don't want to chop this up and watch it in bits, because even though it's a monster, it's like 4 hours long. I thought I really just want to get it all done and experience it all together. So it's definitely on the list for this weekend. But from what I hear, it's obviously better than the theatrical cut, which is not difficult. But yeah, it's just that 4 hour runtime. You've got to be prepared for that. Should have been directed by Edgar Wright, though. Do you mean Spider-Man, Rob? Or Ant-Man? Or something else? Let me know what you mean by that. Dan Hickey, the Snyder Cut is fantastic. Yeah, I've heard it's really cool. Hubux, I'm looking forward to Black Widow in May or June. I'm happy that film is going on Disney Plus. Yeah, sounds cool, Black Widow. Yeah, that's going to be cool. Sammy, the photos of Capaldi in the Suicide Squad trailer are good. Nice for him to get more audience for his acting. Do you know what? Fair play to Capaldi, man. Defo fair play to him. Because he could have just... Let's not beat around the bush. Although Peter Capaldi is not old, he's not like Tom Baker old. He's not a spring chicken anymore. So he could have quite easily really taken a step back after he got absolutely just battered filming Doctor Who for a couple of years. Towards his end of the end of his time on the show, he looked absolutely wrecked. You could tell that it's such a shame, really, because much like David Tennant, we know that Peter Capaldi was such a huge Doctor Who fan. But then working on that show, he must have thought, this is killing me. This is like, I love Doctor Who and stuff, and I love the character, but that aged him massively working on Doctor Who. So at the end of his run, when he was doing those last couple of interviews, he looked like he hadn't, and he probably hadn't, he looked like he hadn't slept in a month. And he was really thin and his hair was just crazy, and he just looked really unkept. And so after that, he could have so easily just gone, do you know what, I'm done. Like, I'm probably coming up to retirement age now. I'm going to take it easy. But no, fair play. And then out of nowhere, he's just has this starring or semi-starring role in this massive Hollywood film, which is sweet. So fair play to him, man. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I wasn't a fan of the first Suicide Squad film, I'll be honest. But I'll check this one out. See if it's any better. But yeah, Capaldi should be cool. I've got a companion that should never be brought back. Oh no, here we go. It's my son creeping around. I've got a companion that never should be brought back. Clara frickin' Oswald. yeah. Who Addicts? I imagine if Clara came back, we'd have to put out a search for you guys because you just duty off. I think that would tip you over the edge. I'd love Ace or Tegan to return. Do you know what? 100%, million% for Ace coming back. Adam and I have championed that for a couple of years now. They've got to bring Ace back. They've got to give Ace a spin-off show. A Charitable Earth. It would be so cool. It would be so cool. The execs at the BBC, we know you listen to the show. Come on. If Clara came back, I would introduce my head to my desk. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's Sammy cracking up. TARDIS now. Even as someone who likes Clara as a companion, don't want her back. Yeah, I think that's the consensus, man. I think a lot of Who fans are like that. It just got so fatigued by the end of it with Clara's run. It was like, oh, she's back again. She's back again. She's dead. No, she's not dead. Is she dead? We don't know. Oh, she's back again, though. Maybe we'll get that explained. No. Oh, she's finally gone. Awesome. Nope, she's back again. It really was like, oh. Either give her a backhander, pack her off somewhere, or just kill the character off. Job done. See you later. Yeah, man. Mark says, I'm about to dive into the recon of the Daleks Master Plan for a forthcoming episode of my podcast. Probably my favourite Hartnell story. Have you tried watching reconstructions? Mark, it's horrible working the reconstructions. It's just really messy. It's okay, but it's just really messy. I hate watching those old recons and stuff. You really have to concentrate. You can't just sit back and enjoy like you would a standard episode. So yeah, the Master Plan, it's cool. It's a really, really well written story, but yeah, the recons are hard to watch. Geeks, I like to imagine Clara's diner was hit by an asteroid and exploded. Yeah, that'd be a good send-off. Just get rid of her once and for all. I know you can never say that in Doctor Who. No one's ever gone, properly, but yeah. Joe Turner, morning, Joe. I'd actually would like to see Clara back. Think she's severely underrated. Joe, that's cool, man. That's if you think that she's underrated, that's cool, man. Glad that you like Clara. The only thing is with Clara is that what's her name? Louise Coleman. Jenna Coleman. The thing is, she's actually a cool actor. She's not bad at all. She's really not bad. The problem is, and it's not a problem as such because people like Joe Turner and other people that like Clara, it's not a problem. But the main thing is, it feels like the writers have run out of ideas. And so that then has an impact on the episode or the series you're watching because you feel like, well, surely you guys have got the talent there to write up new stuff. We don't need a companion all the time. And we certainly don't need a companion that we thought was dead to keep coming back. And another thing with Clara that doesn't go down too well with people is they often wrote her to be the saviour of the story, and the Doctor takes a back seat a few times. So it's all right when you do that once or twice, but when Clara's regularly guiding the Doctor, saving people on a regular basis, all that stuff, yeah, that's cool. That is cool, but it's the Doctor. The Doctor's got to be the dude with the plan, or the person, sorry, with the plan. It's so Joe, if you like Clara, man, then cool, fair play. But yeah, for me, and I think some of our other dudes on here, it's just starts to grate after a little while. Hubux gonna have to go now. Stay safe. Yeah, cool. Thanks for joining, Hubux. Good to have you here. Excuse me, Matt Steele. What does everyone think of the Divergent universe with 8 and Charlie? That's okay, but I feel like they kind of stopped and didn't really make the most of it. They could have made a little bit more of that because it was cool. It was a cool idea, and we started to venture into that. But then they, in my opinion, they cut that short a little bit. So let me know what you think. But yeah, it's a cool it's a cool concept. It's very cool, and it was done pretty well. But yeah, where are we? I keep losing the chat. Sorry, guys. I've started watching Full Circle for the podcast, just so you know. Oh, nice one, Sammy. Yes, we're having a Tom Baker month on the podcast this month, starting next week. And we're going to do we've got 5 episodes. I think we've got the eSpace trilogy, the first 3, and then we've got some other ones. So a whole month of Tom Baker, which is going to be good. So yeah, get Full Circle and then the other eSpace stuff. Watch, guys, because we're asking for your reviews for that stuff. Edgar Wright was meant to direct Ant-Man. Yeah, I thought so, yeah. So Edgar Wright would have been cool. Yes, it would have been cool, but would it have been any better? Maybe, because that man was still enjoyable. But yeah, you're right. Probably would have been a bit better. Peter Capaldi is amazing. I honestly love him so much, more and more the more I see him. Okay, Sammy. Yeah, Capaldi is cool. It's just such a shame that the Capaldi era was didn't really live up to the quality that we know that Doctor Who can be. That makes sense. Because he was a great Doctor, no doubt about it. He was a really cool Doctor. He had sort of shades of Hartnell here and there. He had a bit of Davison in him at times. He had that human touch. But then he was written inconsistent because you'd have that human touch to him and that grumpiness, old granddad type that was, quite relatable. But then literally within the space of 2 episodes, he was this very alien, very distant character from Clara and Bill and stuff. And he was more alien. He was more like a Tom Bakery almost character to a degree, and felt very, very alien, which is good. But then within another episode or 2, he'd go back to being quite relatable and friendly and stuff like that. So Capaldi, as we've said many times, is a great Doctor, no doubt, but he was just written really inconsistent. It was just all over the place, which is a shame. TARDISNet, you watched Full Circle last night? Wow, you're on the ball. I've not even watched it yet, or rewatched it. I think the last time I watched it must have been 2-3 years ago. So I'm going to look forward to watching that again, though, and going back to how they handled Adric's first foray into the show. Adric's always a divisive character, so that's going to be cool. It's going to be cool talking about it with Ad as well on the show. Mark, Capaldi was a fantastic Doctor and the best ambassador for the show. He would turn up at the experience on days off. He spent the day at a kids' hospice drawing cartoons for them. Total respect. That's exactly what I mean. He was such a great figure to lead the show and a great ambassador. But it just aged him so much. By the end of his run, he looked like absolute shit. He really looked like shit. But he is great. TARDISNet, I've grown to enjoy recons, but it took me about 10 years to be able to enjoy them. Yeah, exactly that. The recons, they're hard to they're hard to settle on a flow. It's like you get into a bit of the story and then it's really weird. And yeah. Lewis Blackmore, did everyone enjoy the Eccleston Big Finish trailer yesterday? I, for one, loved it and can't wait for the full release in May. Yeah, dude. I was really surprised at the energy in that clip. He just sounds awesome on Big, like we expected he would do. Big Finish, they do that stuff really well. But yeah, man, he was just the energy in his voice, and just, in some of those scenes when he was like really like up, energetic and up for it, like I'm trying to think of a scene, like at the end of the Doctor Dances, when he's like, everybody lives Rose, he's really sort of happy and he's into it, like that. Nearly all of that trailer, you can tell that he's got that that kind of vibe about it and that excitement and energy. I think that's going to be a cracking release. Yeah, it's going to be a cracker, that one. Yeah, so Lewis, looking forward to that. May's not too far away, so should be good. Who Addicts, she was just overshadowed. She overshadowed 12 in his earlier stuff for me and was too much of an equal. More of the way she spoke to 12 sometimes really burnt my bacon. Yes, it burnt the bacon, dude. Absolutely. Definitely burnt the bacon, man. Yeah. Sorry, you can hear me slurping on my tea. But that's what I was saying. She's a lot of the time it was down to Clara to save the day. And the Doctor was like this bumbling kind of, well, what are we doing here then? What are we doing here? And Clara's like, well, don't you know? You know, we're here to do this stuff and that stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, let's do that then. You know, I'll follow your lead. It's like, no, come on. Come on. Clara's biggest problem was that she had no consistency. She went from one character to another depending on which story she was in, as well as all the dying and then coming back. Yeah, Sammy. Yep. The Who Addicts, we moaned about the Capaldi era, but God, I'd rather have that than what we have now. Jodie, the bumbling fool doctor. Fall on the floor, laughing emoji. That was Liv. We knew that was Liv. We knew it was Liv. Yeah. The comparison between Capaldi's era and Jodie's era. I'll be honest with you guys. For me, they're kind of equal pegging as just the bottom of the pile for me. And I hate saying that because, like I've just said, Capaldi's Doctor and Peter Capaldi, I absolutely love. He's such a good Doctor. But the writing on his era and Jodie's era are just... If you like Capaldi's era and if you like Jodie's Doctor and Jodie's era, then absolutely fair play. It's all good. But for me, I feel like they're the worst written of the bunch, because if you think back to the RTD and the Moffat era, yes, we had some clangers, but for the most part, we had a really nice run in each series. We'd have 2 or 3 episodes which were amazing. We might have a filler episode here and there, but then the quality would come back up and we'd have a couple of really good episodes, and then maybe another filler one, and then a belter of a finale, you know. So generally speaking, the consistency was fairly good overall. Had a few clangers, but that was it. In my opinion, with the Capaldi and certainly the Jodie era, it's the reverse for me. It's the really good episodes are few and far between, and the rest of it is just mediocre filler, not that great stuff. So I read you. I mean, rather that than Jodie's bumbling fool of a Doctor. I mean, yeah, I mean, again, Jodie Whittaker is a good actor, but it comes down to the same problem that we had with Capaldi. She's not been written to maximize on her strengths as an actor as she's portraying the Doctor. That's the issue, because it's there. It's definitely there. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. She has these little flashes of brilliance, these little moments where you think, crikey, she's really good, but there's just not enough of them. So instead of the writers being like, okay, the fans like that bit, and you know, the fans obviously react well to when she's like that, or, you know, we've got good critical ratings and fan ratings when she's like that. Instead of looking at that stuff closely and thinking, right, okay, we can see where, you know, the sweet spot is between what we want to achieve with the character and what the fans like. Instead of that, it's like, oh, no, we're just going to just stubbornly just steamroll through and write the hell, whatever we want to write, and just hope the fans like it. And if they don't like it, then, you know, too bad. So that's a real shame because, yeah, like I said, she's got these little moments, little tiny moments of just brilliance, but just not there enough, unfortunately. Joe Turner, I've been listening to The War Master on Big Finish, and I'm on Series 3. It's great so far. Could Derek Jacobi return on screen, even though he's 82? And even if it confuses Utopia, I don't think so, Joe. I don't think that master would come back. For 2 reasons. The Chibbers won't do it. I think we can all agree he doesn't do that stuff. And number 2, Derek Jacobi's 82 now, so he'd be quite limited in what he could do, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think he's still I think he's still mobile and has all his marbles and everything, but I think it'd be limited to what he could do. So I'm not sure on that. But yeah, the War Master stuff on Big Finish is very cool. TARDIS now, I think the Capaldi era is underrated, to be honest. I have my problems with it, but I still think it has some fantastic storylines and character development and underrated episodes. I mean, the Capaldi era as a whole, I'm not really a fan of, but it certainly has some fantastic stories, and it has a couple of underrated episodes for sure, but that's as far as it goes for me, mate. Yep. More excited for that than Series 13. I don't even want to watch Series 13. Do you mean you're more excited for the Eccleston Big Finish rather than Series 13? Yeah. Joe Turner, well said, Liv. It's so degrading for the audience having to experience how they write Jodie as she talks down to us, treating us like idiots. Yeah, Lewis Blackmore agrees. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's an inconsistent. It's inconsistent stuff for Jodie, and the way she's been written. It's almost like I imagine as somebody who's creating stuff and putting it out into the world, it's difficult because, like if you're a writer on Doctor Who or a producer or something, and in your opinion, what you feel you're doing is, your best work, and you love writing for the show and for that Doctor. It must be difficult to try and balance that. I know that there's a couple of older writers for Who used to go onto some Doctor Who forums and Reddit and stuff like that. They'd spend 10 minutes on there and just be like, oh my God, everybody hates what I've written, and they just like stay off of it and stuff. But I think there is a bit of a balance to be struck there. I think you do have to listen and gauge the majority of the audience reactions. I certainly don't mean that you pander to the audience. Like if you've got a small group of fans that are like, we don't like it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, there's a couple of Who fans that don't like it, let's quickly change it. I don't mean that, but I do think there is a balance to be struck there where, and I'm surprised the BBC don't do this more accurately or more often, where they keep an eye on the public forums and the public space to hear what people are saying about the show, and then feeding that back to the writers and Chibnall and stuff, and saying, look, the ratings for our episodes are going down, the viewing figures are going down, people are saying this about the character and about the show. Why don't we tweak this? We've got all the data here. Why don't we tweak it? Make a couple of little changes. So I'm surprised that they don't. But then again, like, it is a real balance, because the BBC, they can't just say, right, Chibnall, we want you to be showrunner. We have 100% trust in you to do the show. Go and make the show as you want to make it. It would be awful for then halfway through to them say, we said we trusted you, but now we don't. So we need you to make these changes and stuff. That would be awful. So it's a real balance. It's a real balance to do that. But yeah, I think there's definitely some value in the BBC and other studios and stuff just being more aware of what's happening in the public space with that stuff. And I'm no expert, of course. It's incredibly difficult to make a TV show in the first place. So yeah, but I do think there's some value in that. What else have we got? Who else have we got in the chat? Simon Hodgson. Morning, Simon. I love the Capaldi era and loved the Clara and 12 pairing. The bond they had was excellent. Yeah, it was at times. It was at times, Simon. It was very cool. I wish Capaldi's run had ended with the Doctor Falls. It would have been a far better send-off for his Doctor. Yep, Mark agreed with that, dude. I think Adam and I said that on the show at some point in the last couple of years. It would have been a better send-off, definitely. Geeks, a lot of Matt's episodes were improved on a rewatch. He had some great stories like Vincent and the Doctor. Yeah, that's a good point. We might rewatch some of the Capaldi stuff in years to come and be like, actually, that's really good. Time does have an effect on that stuff, excuse the pun. Totally, I'm not a fan of recent writing styles. Yeah, Sarah. Yep. I think a lot of us feel that way. Tom Shaw, would you like to see Benny back? Benny! Yeah, why not? The show can't get any worse, let's face it. So why not? Let's just bring everybody back. Sod it. Let's just bring back Donna, Captain Jack, Benny. Let's just bring the lot back. Adric. Let's just bring everybody back. But like the Royal Rumble. Rob Kernick. I've never seen any of season 8, but have the box set. And haven't seen much of the classic era. Just rewatched Orton's. Really excited for the Damons though. Oh, cool. So you've not seen any of Series 8. I'll read you. But that's good that you're going through it though. So yeah, the Damons, man, what a classic. Love the Damons. Damons, tomato, whatever. But yeah, the Damons is a great one. Really good. The Who Addicts say, I've been catching up on your pods from episode 299 and you both said something, I think, in episode 301 or 302, which I completely agree with. And that's what I'm ready for, something new now. Can you believe it's 4 years since Jodie took over? She's pretty much matched the Tennant, Smith and Capaldi eras in length already. Yeah, I read you, man. It's yeah, it is weird to think, isn't it? Because in terms of this is going to sound weird to say this, but in terms of real time, actual time, then yeah, it has been 4 years. But because of lockdown and stuff being moved around, it doesn't feel like that with her doctor. It doesn't feel like it's been 4 years. But defo, man, I think we need something. I think we need a reset. And I've said this on the show now for about a year or two. No, about the last year, I would say. I've said that the show just needs a rest. I hate saying that, but the show definitely needs a break. It needs in my opinion, the show would really benefit from just morning, Ad, the Ultimate Whovian. Morning, dude. In my opinion, the show would really benefit from a couple of years off, or 3 years, 2 or 3 years off, where the BBC just say, you know what, we just haven't got the time or the money to keep pushing series after series after series out the door and just getting loads of hate for it constantly. Yeah, because let's face it, the BBC is really going through it at the minute, and I think within the next, there's a real big subject going on with the license fee here in the UK. So anyone that's not in the UK, apologies, but in the UK we have something called the TV license fee, and we have to pay that every year, and that funds the BBC so that they can create their own content. Now the problem is there's a whole weird thing around the license fee where somebody like myself, the only thing that I ever watch on the BBC is Doctor Who and the odd program here and there. So for me personally, me and my family who don't watch the BBC hardly ever, it really sucks that we have to pay, I don't even know what it is now, what, £180 a year, £160 a year for a TV license, and it's funding the BBC for stuff that we're not watching. So there's this whole thing around the license fee at the minute where it's even in our political thing in the House of Commons and everything where people are saying, look, why are we charging the nation this amount for a license fee where the range of options for people to watch their TV, now that online viewing is a real big thing now as well, why are we charging, there's a whole there's a whole thing around that. So there's a considerable chance that within the next 5 years, the BBC are going to move to a subscription-based model, like Netflix or, Disney Plus, that kind of thing. So I think that if that is an option that's coming up and the BBC are aware of it, I think that they should look and really start to talk to other big hitters about buying Doctor Who from the BBC. Now, a lot of people might hate that idea because it might be, oh, you know, Doctor Who is quintessentially British and it's a, you know, it's a part of British history and a part of the BBC's history and everything like that. But that only gets you so far in the modern age of making TV and stuff like that. The BBC can't have it both ways. They can't just sell off all of their locations. Like the BBC television centre in London is now apartments and flats, you know? So they can't have it both ways. They can't say, yeah, the BBC is an establishment based on history and all that stuff, but then they just sell off all of the stuff that's cool history. So it's a bit of a thing to get your head around, but in my opinion, I think that if it does move to a subscription model, they should look to sell BBC, the Doctor Who, to something like Netflix or Disney Plus or something like that, but then take it off for 2 or 3 years and just get a team of people behind it that can really make something of it within that break. So instead of just literally showrunner passing the baton to another person and they have to carry the show from what's happened in the last however many years that series has been on for, and then run with it, and then you've got back-to-back stuff. That worked back in the RTD era into Moffat era because RTD launched it or relaunched it. So he was almost coming into it. Just think about how awesome the episode Rose is. In terms of Eccleston's era, it's not the best episode, but just think about the gravity that episode has. And also think back to when, in 2005, when Doctor Who came back, it'd been off the air for quite a few years. And then all of a sudden, boom, like Russell T Davies had the time. It wasn't just one of those in-betweeny moments where somebody was passing him the baton and he had to come up with a season and an era and an arc for Doctor Who. He had the time to properly develop the show off the bat and get everything in place, rocking and rolling. So think back to the episode Rose and just how, not in terms of the quality of the episode, because there are better Eccleston stories, but think about just how amazing those performances are and how, even when it was rough and ready with not as much budget as it has now, just how brilliant it is. So that's the kind of thing that we need to get back to, because at the moment it just feels like this is what Doctor Who. I'm going a bit of a rant here. I apologise. I wonder if the rant jingle works on here. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah. So, the way that I view Doctor Who, and it has been like this probably about 2/3 of the way through the Moffat era up to where we are now, is it feels like the show is a train that's just bolting down the tracks, and the showrunner and the producers and the writers, they're laying down all of the tracks while the train's moving along. There's no time just to stop and breathe and to just really properly consider where they want to take the show and what they really want to do properly with the Doctor and with that character. So that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like the train's at the station and everybody can just properly dedicate some time to, moving forward. It's like the Doctor Who's this big bumbling sort of crazy train that's going everywhere. And you've got Chibbers and all the other writers and producers are just sweating buckets, legging in front of the train, throwing the tracks down. That's what it feels like to me. So in my opinion, they should sell Doctor Who to a company like Netflix, etc., that would pile some decent money into it so that they could get some people who, and it doesn't have to be like this crazy, the TV movie vibe where you've got these crazy, I guess in the eyes of some Doctor Who fans, like, non-British people, like American Canadian people who we feel don't know the show properly, running around, doing that stuff like that we did with the TV movie. It could still be lots of British talent. Absolutely. It could still be all of that stuff. But it just needs to be rested, because it feels like, as Doctor Who fans, it's like season after season, episode after episode. It's like This one's going to be a belter. Oh, that was okay. This week it's going to be amazing. Oh, that was fairly good. That was okay. But this week it's going to be amazing. Yeah, it wasn't, was it? This week's going to be great. Oh, that was great. Awesome. Right, we've got our flow. Awesome. Next week. Oh, that wasn't great again, was it? So, that's what it feels like, So I've ranted a bit there. Sorry, guys. But that's what I feel personally needs to happen. It needs to come off the air for a few years, get itself together, get some decent funding behind it, and come back strong. Yeah. That's just my 2 cents. Right, cash up on the chat. Here we go. Geeks, it feels like Jodie's been around for frickin' ever. Yeah. I'm constantly frustrated with Jodie's Doctor. I've enjoyed her performance, but she hasn't been characterised well, and they give her the same thing to do episode after. Yeah, TARDIS. Yeah, it's the same deal. Sammy, Jodie is actually pretty consistent, which is actually the problem because she's one note, chirpy. I think her characteristics are consistent, Sammy, like that face and and the family. Those small little things that she does are consistent for sure, but her approach to how she handles things, and how she deals with the supporting cast and that stuff—that's the inconsistency, I think. Sammy Chibnall does bad writing. Chibnall can't write Who at all. Yeah, the Geeks Hand back. Hashtag Adric must live. They can bring Adric back for sure. They can bring him back. Definitely bring him back. Didn't Big Finish do this thing where at the end of what's the episode where Adric dies on TV? The Cybermen story. Oh, what's it called? The one where the ship that he's on collides, smashes into Earth at the end. I didn't Big Finish do a story where there was some kind of thing that happened and he was beamed off the ship just before it crashed or something? Was that a thing, or have I just dreamt that? I don't know. But they could definitely bring him back. Just do it. It can't be any worse. Mark, you're not a big Pertwee fan, but the Damons is awesome. Yeah, it is awesome, man. You're not a Pertwee fan? Lewis Blackmore, most worrying aspect about this current era for me is that the episodes people have enjoyed the most are the ones written by guest writers. Chibnall penned eps just don't seem to really hit the mark. Bang on the money there, Lewis. Bang on the money. Bang on the money. And that's the thing with Chibnall, No disrespect to him personally, but it just feels like he can't write a solid episode of Doctor Who. Which is worrying, because when you have somebody like that who's overseeing everything, that's a worrying thing. Who Addicts? I think maybe if BBC let someone else take it over like Netflix, that would be good. I don't think the BBC can do it anymore. Yeah, I mean, that's the rant I just said, man. It's thank you, Mark. Earthshock. That's the one. Yeah, Earthshock. Yeah, that's the thing. It feels like, if you think about this from, I'm going to wrap the stream up in a little while, by the way, guys, but if you think about this from a business/company perspective, Doctor Who in general, right? Here you have a show that came back in 2005, and when it came back, it was marketed very well, it was received very well, and everything just seemed to fall into place really well. It had the odd thing that wasn't great, but for the most part, it was really well. So from a business point of view, if you're like one of the BBC execs and you're thinking about the BBC as a company and how it's perceived and finances and all that stuff, Doctor Who would have looked amazing at the time because, Chris Eccleston was very well received. Billy Piper was well received. The storylines were all good. The DVDs would have been selling really well. There's much, much larger range of merchandise. That was all selling really well. And then you move further into the RTD era, and then David Tennant comes on board, and he just smashes the ratings, and it just goes astronomical. And then you have the Experience open in London, and it's awesome. You have more merchandise, you have more viewing figures, and then Matt Smith comes on board with a new showrunner, and the ratings stay, really good for a while. And then you have a brand new dedicated Experience open in Cardiff. You have more merchandise. Everything's rocking and rolling. But then towards the end of the Moffat era, you see this slow decline in viewing figures. And then as you get into the Capaldi era, you have this spike in viewing figures for the openings episode, or the opening couple, and then it starts to go down again. And then that just kind of goes on, and you see this slow trend of like figures just going down and down and down. And then we have a new showrunner, Chibbers jumps on board, Jodie's Doctor. We have a spike in viewing figures because everyone's interested, but then it doesn't really hit the mark, and then we go down and down and down. And while this is all going on, the Doctor Who Experience closes down. The amount of merchandise just dwindles to next to nothing, and we don't have the Doctor Who Festival anymore that's put on by the BBC. All of a sudden, you had this show that was like the crown jewel of the BBC, and everything was on firing on all cylinders. Everything was awesome. And then, fast forward to where we are now, why the hell would anyone at the BBC be like, yep, this is still a great show that we should be making still. Yep, let's keep ploughing money into it, and let's just keep our fingers crossed that one episode or that collection of episodes is going to send the ratings back up into the stratosphere and we're going to be back on track. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen like that. So, in some strange reality, if I was the head of the BBC, a few years ago, I would have been like, right, where's the plug on Doctor Who? I'm going to pull it, because this is madness. This is absolute madness. Now, this comes across as really negative. I'm fully aware of that, and I'm really sorry. I didn't want to get into like a negative kind of rant with this, but it's just how I'm feeling, man. It's and I felt like it for a couple of years now. Yeah. So as an exec at the BBC, I would have been like, "You lot are crazy. There's no way." Just look at the viewing figures, the number of people buying merch, the number of people, that are doing stuff externally in Doctor Who. You have all these other things in the world where people are going bananas for. Star Wars has got its problems, obviously, but, Star Wars coming back, Disney Plus, all the Marvel stuff, the HBO Max stuff, all of that stuff. Absolutely amazing. And Netflix just making strides well ahead of anybody else. And then you've just got Doctor Who sitting over here at the BBC, not getting the love that it needs, that it deserves. So sorry, guys, bit negative there, but I love Doctor Who. Obviously, you guys all know that, but I just honestly feel like it just needs a rest, man. It needs a rest, and it needs a new home, in my opinion. Right, here we go. The rant jingle is back. You've missed the rant jingle. Yeah, man, we missed the rant jingle. We've got some awesome jingles that we don't really use that often. We've got the another one Adam likes is the old, the vintage retro techno electronic sounds, which we used to do when we were doing the old competition. Like, right, we're going to fire up the old randomizer and pick a winner and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, the rant jingle is kind of cool. So yeah. Neil Campbell was John. Hi, Neil. Neil's one of our regular reviewers. New to the party, listening to the podcast. Just saw this YouTube up as well. Just wondering, have you reviewed the Sea Devils? Yeah, we did. I think we reviewed it, buddy. I'll find out which episode we did it on, but I think so. The restoration on the Blu-ray collection is superb. I've spoken to Rich Tipple, who was one of the guys that worked on it. The love and care they've taken is really off the scale. Yeah, Mark, it's the rest the Blu-ray stuff. I think I mentioned this on the last stream. As an example, the season 8 Blu-ray stuff is just awesome, and they seem to really get the knack of that now, with the whole remastering and restoration stuff. It's awesome. Right, the Sea Devils. Have we done this one? We might not have done it. Oh yeah, we have done it, yeah. So the Sea Devils, Neil, is way back in episode 96, which was probably 2015-ish. So you have to go on the website and go back to that, or just go to Apple Podcasts and scroll through. Episode 96, we did the Sea Devils. Who else do we have? TARDISnet, the only Chibnall episode I like is Resolution. He's much better at modern day dramas like Broadchurch. Yeah, Broadchurch was really good. Or the first series was anyway. That was really cool. Neil Campbell, I've been watching all of New Who again, chronologically, we'll put my teeth in, from Eccleston to Whittaker. Just finished Capaldi the other night and started Series 11. The drop-off in quality is startling. Yeah, that's what I was saying, dude. Defo. Lewis Blackmore, best thing about the Chibnall era for me are the historicals. Rosa, Demons of Punjab, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, and Villa of Diodati. All pretty good. The historical ones are actually okay. They were okay. Especially Rosa and Demons of the Punjab. They were good stories. They were good. For sure. The Who Addicts, you have some incredible thoughts, buddy. I'd love to collaborate on a video on our channel to chat about all things current Who, cracking stuff. All right, dude, we'll do that, but we'll do a deal. I'll come on your YouTube channel and do a video with you if you guys come on the podcast and do an episode with us. We'll do that. Tom Shaw, a spin-off will help me along. Do you mean a spin-off would help fandom, as in just have some additional Doctor Who content, or you personally? Let me know, Tom. Geek's Handbag, I love that techno sound. Yeah, it's cool, man. It is cool. No, that's the rant jingle. Let's hear it again. Yeah, the techno-y retro sound. Very cool. Bring on season 24, says Ad the Ultimate Whovian. Ken Dodd, Evil Grannies, a bunch of Kangs, Kate O'Mara, Green Babies, and a dragon. What's not to love, Ad? Come on, man. Bring on season 24. Let's do it. Neil, cheers, guys. We'll have to listen back. It's my fave story ever. Oh, cool. Yeah, so the Sea Devils, man. That's a good one. A classic, absolutely, in its own right. Defo a classic. For sure. Right, what's the time? Nearly 11:30. I'm about half hour over. That's not too bad. But I'm going to wrap the stream up here, dudes. I think it's been a good hangout and chat all things Who. Who Addicts, that's a deal. That's a deal no one could refuse. Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, we'll sort it out. Let's talk and we'll do that. I'm sure Ad won't mind having you guys on, and we can chat about whatever you want to chat about. So yeah, let's sort that out. Right, let's wrap it up there, dudes. I won't take up any more of your precious weekend chill time. It's been cool to hang out with you all once again. I'm really loving these live streams. So I think from next week, so yeah, no worries, Joe, thank you. I think from next week we will have some kind of, not so much an agenda, but I think we'll have a topic in place which I'll ramp up in the run up to the live stream. So that we're all on the same page and we've all got some thoughts and stuff. So, yeah, because I've kept it kind of loose for these ones thus far, which is all good. But yeah, I think if we have a topic we can all talk about, that'd be cool. Sorry, Sammy. Yeah, I've got to wrap it up. I've got stuff to do this weekend. How many glasses of wine has Geeks had already this morning is the question we all need to be asking. Yeah, dude. Any wine this morning? Or is it the old, you've kept it British, you've had a cup of tea. Cheers, everyone. Nice stream. Yeah, nice one. Thank you all very much for joining. It's been really cool. I'm sorry if I've ranted and been a tad bit negative, by the way. It's, yeah, it's just one, sometimes it happens when you're talking about Doctor Who, it happens sometimes. John Griffiths. I didn't know you're here, John. Nice one, dude. Hope you're doing well. You have to get the Geek's Handbag on. Yeah, well, Sammy, if he gets his ass out of bed in the morning, then he can come on, of course. But yeah, Yeah, so thank you very much. Right, I'm going to wrap it here, guys. Thank you very much for joining once again. It's been awesome to have you here. As always, I have been Gary from the Big Blue Box Podcast. You can listen to the podcast on whatever app you get your podcast on for free. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box Podcast. You'll find us on there. We'd love to have you as a follower. That way you won't miss a show when it lands every single Friday. We are on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. There are links on the website, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. And we have a free Discord server as well. So come and join that and hang out and chat more Doctor Who over there. The link's on the website. And remember to subscribe to this channel on YouTube as we do more of these live streams and all that good fun stuff. So I will see you next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you later. Bye.